Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for checking out this video here on Show Style and Spirit. I am Ebony, of course, and as you can see from the visual on your screen, I am recapping part 3 of the Love and Marriage Huntsville reunion. We have reached the finish line for this current season 7/8/9. I view it as season 7, but in any event, we have to talk about some things that people actually formulated the words in their brains and then they let the words come out of their mouths, including Ken suggesting that Melody and Marquez being cool is like Tricia going over to Martell's house for quote unquote working out. And of course, we have to remember the lovely, intelligent, vibrant, energetic Mrs. Kiki Jabar. Now, before we get into these topics, I ask that you please hit the like button on this video and please subscribe to the channel. Everything that I'm saying in this video is alleged and just my opinion, and the Copyright Act of 1976 says that my fair use commentary on these clips are allowed. Okay, so the episode opens up after we know Martell made the crass joke, supposed to be a joke, that he and Tricia slept together. He said this right after Carlos King in part 2 asked Tricia flat out, did you have sex with Martell? She said no. He asked her a couple of other questions, all to which she answered no. And then Carlos asked Martell for his reaction, and he said, I'll be honest, we did sleep together. And then it was this awkward silence, and then he said he was just playing. And Carlos asked Ken, did he think that was funny? He said he did not. Now, Martell did not see anything wrong with him suggesting that he and Tricia slept together. But as we all know, Ken said that it was not funny. Now, Melody, in that moment, she says, after Ken says, that's not funny, Melody says to Martell, do you have anything for him? Do you have anything else to say back to him? And Martell, of course, is looking shocked and confused. Melody said, because you always argue with the females, but that man over there, that big old man down there, you have nothing for him. And exactly, Melody, that is a thought that I've had all season long. Martell does not have 10% of the smoke that he had for Marceau at the field day. He doesn't even have 10% of that smoke for Ken. And I find that to be very interesting because he doesn't want to lose a fight. Martell is obviously convinced that he is in better shape than the Scotsmen. So he's comfortable disrespecting them because he feels like if it can get physical, he can beat them up. Even if Maurice tries to sucker punch Martell again, allegedly, like he did at the season 5 melee at the relaunch of Madani, even if they try to jump him, Martell feels like he's in better shape where he can, take care of them both at the same time. But Ken, not so much. The chocolate Incredible Hulk, no. Now, Ken, I'm going to go see a Captain America on Wednesday on my birthday. I know that now the Hulk is red. Harrison Ford is playing the red Hulk. If I see you in there, then I know they've also added a chocolate Hulk. But Melody was so spot on. Martell does not want any of the smoke with Ken. Carlos asked Ken if he trusts Tricia, and Ken said that he wants to 100% trust Tricia, but she has a weird way of communicating. Who says that? Okay, especially when you're being asked if you trust someone. Why in your reaction, in your answer, in the same sentence, you say they have a weird way of communicating? To that, Carlos then said, what's weird, her not telling the truth? And the thing is, Tricia, she loves to use the word weird because she maybe she knows she's strange. Like Carlos just said that you have a weird way of communicating with telling the truth, and she just sits there. She doesn't even laugh. She doesn't like throw her arms up like, Carlos, how can you clown me like that? She'll just sit there. And Ken does too. They are two peas in a pod. The biggest problem is that Tricia is still married and she was okay with moving a man in or moving in with him, however that worked, with her 2 young kids. I've said that and I'll continue to say that. but they are two weird birds. I'm kind of relieved that they are off of the singles market and with each other because they definitely need to be. Then Marquez comes out, and he and Ken, they just do not like each other. And what I think Ken is missing is, like, if you were truly serious about being with Trisha and being a stepdad to her kids, you would act more mature when the biological dad isn't dealing. He doesn't want to grapple with the fact that they live with you and you do help a lot with their day-to-day needs, including the monetary side. And when Carlos was asking Marquez what was his issue with Ken, he was saying, I just don't like the dude. I have God in me. I have discernment. And Ken chuckled at that. So I've always gotten really negative vibes concerning Ken. And I feel like there's like another layer of him that's boiling inside and it wants to erupt like a volcano. And then I also think he's just a butthole as well. And that butthole side came out. It's one thing if you're not religious, it's one thing if you're atheist, but I've worked with atheists and they want to have those spiritual conversations because they definitely want to try and debunk everything that you believe. But I've never experienced one just straight up chuckling or laughing at something that someone said that was of spirituality. So I just found that to be interesting. Even like for people, if you've ever had such a conversation with someone who's not very religious, typically they'll just like stand there and stare, letting you know that that's not their thing. That's not something that they believe, but they don't even have the nerve to like laugh at what you believe because they understand that it means something to you, just like their lack of belief means something to them. And there's no laughing about it. So I thought that was just kind of whack on Ken's behalf. But what I do want to say to Marquez is, Marquez, you can acknowledge the fact that Ken does do things for your kids and you'll still be their dad. You'll always be their biological dad. And it's okay to acknowledge facts. It's okay to acknowledge, what, he does take my daughter to her dance rehearsals and he does show up to her dance competitions. He does help Trisha with the monthly bills and things that they need, but I'm also in their life as well. I communicate with them. I commute between Atlanta and Huntsville to spend time with them. I'm still in their lives, but you can be confident and acknowledge the things that Ken does because Ken is relishing in the fact that you struggle with acknowledging Ken's presence in your children's lives. I say acknowledge it. Be confident about the fact that you'll always be their dad and you're still in their lives. So maybe he'll mature and kind of calm down a little bit. Now, Kimmy kept interjecting, which one part I noticed the camera panned away kind of quickly, but before the camera totally panned away, I could see Maurice lifting his hand, telling Kimmy to like pipe down or stay out of it. And I don't know if that's because Maurice kind of is feeling Marquez a little bit more than Ken, or if he just didn't want either one of the men snapping at Kimmy. But Kimmy was saying things like, so Marquez, you think communicating with them is enough? And I'm paraphrasing, of course. And she said, you should want someone who would be like a stepdad that's also willing to help with the financial part. And we know, we've talked about this when I've made like Lexi videos. Sometimes I think that people will project like their personal experiences, like with using Lexi as an example. If someone was also a stepmother in their romantic relationship and perhaps they felt like the kid didn't like them or their biological mom talked ill of them. I think people automatically assumed that that was the case with Lexi and Miss Cornelia. And then when people watch that dinner scene, they totally ignored the fact that Nell told Lexi to shut the hell up when she was trying to figure out what happened with her brother Chris Jr. when he got arrested. Only we later learned during her interview with Giving You the Real Tea that they brought up her mother and was talking about her to purposely trigger her. So I think sometimes, you have to refer to Miss Queen Sheba, take a pause, and it's nothing wrong with putting yourself in someone else's shoes. It's not weak, it's not stupid, but you're trying to get a fuller understanding. And I think also when it comes with Marquez, I think that Kimmy and others, some people, they automatically thought about the scenario of perhaps their children's father not helping them out financially. So just because Ken helps out with financially, he is the knight in shining armor, and Marquez is a douche. But if you watched his interview with Queen Sheba, he said he shouldn't have never used the words, I left my family. He said, I left a toxic marriage, but I remained in my kids' lives. And you can tell that that's the truth because Trisha and Ken, they never say, your kids ain't heard from you in 4 months. Your kids ain't seen you. You don't FaceTime them. You don't come to Huntsville. They never say that. They just say, you don't pay for anything and we give you money. That is all they stick to the monetary. So he does have some sort of relationship with his kids. But Kimmy was interjecting because that would not be enough for her. And if you remember her speaking about Jalen's dad on Carlos King's YouTube channel, she admitted that Jalen's dad was never in love with her and he never helped her financially with Jalen's needs. So I think that Marquez and Ken and Trisha totally take her to that place because perhaps she wished she met a Ken when Jalen was a little boy. Now, Marquez said that he admires Melody. So I thought this was hilarious. He brought her the flowers that you see on the round table. And it is like flowers that you may sit at your office or like a cute little coffee table or maybe like on your balcony or on your sun porch. And then he gets down on one knee to ask Melody if they could collaborate and meet up, on a business level to talk and learn things about each other. And Ken actually interjects and says that Melody and Marquez are like Tricia and Martell. And Ken was trying to say, he's using you like Tricia and Martell. And Melody said, no, Marquez and I are not like Tricia and Martell because I've never gone anywhere to see him. And that is exactly it, Ken. Do not even try to equate Marquez wanting to get to know Melody and possibly do business with her as the same as Trisha going over to Martell's house to quote unquote work out. And even during part 3 of the reunion, Trisha tried to say that she thought that in the neighborhood where she was going to see Martell, that there was going to be a clubhouse. Because it seemed from the address, it seemed like a really nice neighborhood, the kind of neighborhood that has clubhouses. Girl, shut up, okay? Always adding a lie. I see why like her and Destiny are cool. They definitely mirror the same type of energy. And Marquez actually told Ken that Trisha does not want to marry him. And Trisha, in response, her and Ken just sat there. Ken didn't even have a response for Marquez when Marquez said that Trisha doesn't want to marry him, nor did Trisha interject and profess her love for Ken. She didn't even say, Ken and I may not get married in the next year, but at some point I want to marry him. My goal is 2 years or 3 years. She didn't say none of that. She just sat there in her normal, awkward silence. Okay, so let's get into the girls' trip. So Carlos brings up the scene at the beach where Melody used Jesus as a metaphor, and she talked about how people turned on Jesus. And Nell said in her confessional that Melody actually compared herself to Jesus. Her fans have really blown her head up. And I remember that episode, and I remember my commentary saying that Nell totally missed the point. Nell, like her analytical skills, she needs to work on that because she'll totally hear something completely different. I'm going to give another example in a moment. But at the beach, Melody wasn't comparing herself to Jesus. She was making the point that people flipped on him. Judas did it for some shekels of silver. And that's what she was saying. For money, people will say whatever, do whatever, if it's going to keep them on this show to make some more money. Nell totally didn't get it. She just heard the word Jesus, and immediately in her mind, she compared Melody to Jesus, but said that Melody did that. Another example of like Nell not processing is the episode when Dr. Francis came to Nell and Chris Fletcher's home to do a family counseling session. And after she yelled at Lance and Lance defended himself, Dr. Francis told Nell to stand up, and he said, I want you to go to each of your children and say something that you really like about them. Nell stands up and she apologizes to each kid. She was, which is fine, that's great. But she totally did not do what the man asked. That was not the exercise. The exercise was he wanted Nell to affirm her kids because they just saw her yelling at Lance, going into him about the way he manages his money and going and asking Chris. Chris even caught a stray when she said, he don't say much. That's why you go to him. So Dr. Francis wanted her to atone for always putting the kids down and how they spend their money by affirming them, saying something that she likes about them. And she totally didn't do that. She stood up and apologized to each kid. So she doesn't like listen well. And I think she's definitely not processing. And at this point, I'm not a medical doctor nor a psychologist. So I don't even know what tools you would say to her to learn to listen better because she totally doesn't get stuff. But let's go ahead. I want to play this clip for you all. I'm playing it right off of Instagram where they are conversing about what Nell said about Melody in the confessional.
You know, there was a scene where the ladies, you all were at the beach. There was a conversation about the word Jesus being brought up. And Nell made a comment that your fans have gotten to your head so much that you're now comparing yourself to Jesus. Oh. When you saw that, what did you think?
Ridiculous.
I made a damn joke like you did.
It was a joke. Okay, if it was a damn joke, we good.
Do you think Mel Head has blown up?
Yeah.
Blown up how?
In what way?
I mean, she said it when we was out here on the beach. She's the queen. You know, no one is going to be.
Who's always saying that to me?
No, Shanita started. Shanita started saying that.
No, ma'am, I'm not talking about on the beach. There have been many conversations that Miss Nell has been a part of where she has said, I don't know why everybody won't just understand this male. Everybody need to fall in line and fall in place. Mel is this. Mel the queen of this. Everybody need to just play their role.
I said, you said this is your platform, and I said it is your platform.
I'm not talking about
I said it's going to your head.
people falling in line. That way you said, so I'm repeating it plain.
He asked me if I said it went to your head. And that's why it hurted me so much when she downplayed to me like our friendship and everything. Because you could slide your ass all down that chip.
Now come pick me up.
I'm not playing with you. But there's times I've talked to her when she's been in vulnerable space. And I'm like, Mel, it's okay. I've always mentored to Mel and told Mel, you good. You got this.
Have I done that to you too, Miss Nell?
See, that's what you do.
I'm asking you.
That's what you do.
I'm asking you. We have an exchange. There has been an exchange.
I have called you about Chris and Martell maybe once, but I've been there more so for you and Martell's situation or just you. So I'm not saying you haven't been there for me, but I don't want to do the back and forth.
Mm-hmm. And I appreciate you, Miss Nell. I appreciate you.
But how did you think it was going to be received?
I appreciate you.
When
I want to make sure she hears me. I appreciate you. I'm thankful for you. You know, in our conversation that I said, having God, my mom, and my kids, that works for me. I hate that that offended you. I already apologized to you when we had the conversation. And I'm letting you know right here that I appreciate you.
Well, thank you.
That was good. That's a good one. Aww.
Okay, so that was Nell talking. Now, when Melody gets up and says, you know, who's the one who always says, everybody need to fall in line. This is Melody's platform. She's the queen. They need to fall in line. At first, Nell tried to say Shanita was saying that to you. Melody said, no, I'm not talking about that one moment on the beach. I'm talking about in general. And Nell had to admit, she said, yeah, you are the one. This is your platform. Okay, so Nell, in your mind, you have subconsciously compared her to Jesus, not the fans. A lot of millimeters are very spiritual. Some may even use the word religious. And so I don't think that they're worshiping Melody as their God. I think it's very, very much so Jesus Christ. And so I definitely don't think that the fans have made her Jesus. But I do seem like in your mind, Nell, you may have done that equation yourself. But also during this scene, Destiny and Melody, they talk about on the girls' trip the things that Destiny said to Melody, trying to suggest that she was trying to teach Coleslaw how to respectfully cheat. And Melody said, yeah, and she apologized too. And Destiny said, I said, I'm sorry for what I had to do or something. And basically, Destiny just tried to deny her obsession with Melody. Melody said, everywhere we went out to eat, Destiny sat next to me and she was trying to make conversation with me. And Destiny was trying to play that down. But if you physically sat in seats that were near Melody, it's giving that you really don't want to be this butthole. You wish that you two were close friends again. But I think Martell's got you by the BALLS, okay? And so that's why you have to cut a rug and act a fool. But that was the girls' trip. And then we all know that Stormy was the quote unquote special guest. I don't know why production promoted that like that. Because I was like, I know it can't be Stormy when she was a part of the cast up until she quit after the girls' trip. Why would she be the special guest? That is so goofy. But, you know, that's what it was. And she came out and she talked about her success on TikTok. And she said that since then, she'd been traveling between both LA and New York. And if there was discussion about the millimeters during the part 3 reunion, they did not show it, which I am glad. And then the rest of the episode was dedicated to Mrs. Keke Jabar. So now they did a video package of scenes with Kiki, and they kept it respectful. They did not show like the water toss or, you know, what Marceau said about her and Amin got mad and Marceau was running from Amin. They didn't do any of that. They kept it light and they kept it positive. And Tisha also organized a memorial service at a park for Kiki, and they showed that footage as well. And then, so I want to go ahead and play this soundbite for you all, and then I'll come back with my commentary.
So, Tisha, you decided to put together the memorial in honor of Kiki. And if I ask you anything that's uncomfortable, please tell me to stop, okay?
Okay.
How are things now with you and the family since the passing?
My only concern is just her kids. That's it. Like, nobody else matters to me. I've always had a great relationship with her kids. And so I just want to make sure I keep that relationship going. And she's been my sister that I never had. And I hate that the moment she had on the show, nobody got a chance to really witness that side of our relationship. And so, of course, people are running with what they saw, you know, what happened on the show. And that was hurtful, too. But at the end of the day, she was my first cousin. She was my sister cousin. And we had a relationship. And no matter what the hurt and the things that everybody else got a chance to see on the show, it was always love there. And for that, I'm going to honor her. And I'm going to pay my respect to her. And I'm going to do my part. And nobody can stop that.
Stormy, it was revealed that you paid for the entire funeral. Is that true?
I had like such a strong affinity for Kiki. We know why. And I knew some of what she was going through financially. And then my mind went right to what I could do to help her family. So I know most times that can be like a strain on a lot of people. And I ain't gonna lie, like when I found out I couldn't go to sleep that night, I said, I gotta find out how to get in touch with her husband. And I got a few people on the phone, and I called him, and it was crazy when he answered the phone. He said it went at the God because him and another friend had just been sitting there talking about how they was gonna cover the cost, and it was just on my spirit heavy to do it. So I did it. And that was so big of you, Stormy. Like, that speaks to you and your heart. And once I heard that, it just really changed my whole perspective, of you. And you're not family. You didn't have to do it, but you felt that and you needed and you wanted to do it. So for that, it was like, that just speaks to you as a person.
Is there anything anybody would like to say just in regards to Kiki and your thoughts about, there's no pressure to say anything.
Keep her family in your prayers. Her kids. Mm-hmm. Keep her kids.
And I'll say that not just prayers, right? If you can do something for her family and she touched you in a way, do something for her family. Like, her children are at pivotal points in each and every one of their lives. And if you can make a difference, make a difference.
And I just want, like, the relationship between Keke and I, for people that's watching the show and people that's on stage, to just, you think you have time, you think you get into it with people you love and you care about. You're like, eventually one day we will make up and we'll talk about it. But, right now it's not the time. And I mean, I thought that. And I think with Keke and I, we both allowed the hurt to get in the way of the love we have for one another. And so I have vowed, and I'm like, I'm never, ever, this has taught me a lesson. I'm never going to do that ever again. If I love you, if we have a conflict, we're going to resolve it and we're going to move forward. Because I don't ever want the hurt to get in the way of the love.
Yeah, and that's the reason why, look, one thing I've always tried to do every reunion is find places of some sort of resolve. Listen, this is a family. There's love here. And what this has proven to us is life is too short. She was young, vibrant, sassy, has so much personality. None of us saw this coming, but that's how life works. And what you don't want to do after you leave here tonight is to walk away with any regrets, because it's never that deep to look at a person and say, look, I still love you and we gonna be good. Like, we're good. We're good. And it is my hope that each and every one of you find a place, and it doesn't have to be now or tonight, but to look deep down inside yourselves and to try to find that place of reconciliation. All right? We always think it's important that we go out on a high note, and this year is certainly no different. So let's bring out some champagne, please.
Is this black chocolate in a bottle? I didn't send it this year.
Did you bring it?
Nope.
Okay, and that was pretty much the end of the episode. They do a champagne toast to Marcel because at the time that they filmed the reunion, he was turning 45 last fall. So that was the episode. I am thankful and relieved that they did acknowledge Keke just because she passed in early July 2024. And I felt like there was really at that time and for these past 7 months up until this part 3 reunion, there was no like proper acknowledgement that at least relieved me, so I'm thankful and glad that they did it in the episode. I was thankful that they stuck to her positive moments on the show for the video montage for the package. And I'm glad that Tisha acknowledged their positive moments together as cousins. And she said that Keke was her sister that she never had. And Keke will always be the intelligent, educated Black woman that she was. And I feel really bad for her children because I have lost my mom. I've lost both of my parents, so I know that type of loss. And you feel the world grow colder once your mom leaves. So her kids, I'm not a psychic, and of course, I'm not saying that they're going to have the exact feelings and thoughts that I've had, but they're going to have moments where they wish that they could talk with her, whether it's to share something like a milestone on their job, or if they're having a bad day and they need that reassurance. They're going to wish that they could call her. They may even naturally grab their cell phones and type in, her name, mom, or her phone number, only to have to remind themselves that they cannot do that. And it's going to really stay. Like, I don't really feel like you get over such a tremendous loss. And if Kiki could hear me, I would want to tell her, you did great. And even the moments where you wish you could take back or you made a mistake, they do not define you, but it's those beautiful moments, like those 3 babies that you and Amin have, and you graduating college, and being that Black woman, that most educated person in the United States, being a part of that sector, and your beauty, your gorgeous, flawless chocolate skin and smile, and your sense of humor, and everything that you contributed to the show, because she brought a lot, especially season 6, and she dealt with a lot and overcame a lot. And Stormy paid for the funeral. That was very generous of her. And even Tisha said, "You're not family. You did not have to do that." So that was generous of Stormy. And I feel like, I know we've heard the saying that you're blessed to be a blessing to others. And I feel like it was meant for her to call Amin. She said she couldn't sleep and she wanted to speak with him, find out was there anything that she could do. And I'm just thankful that Amin, um, he was able to be a man and ask for the help. And in life, no matter what, you can ask for help, not just monetary help, but it could be a listening ear or some advice, or who can I go to and ask this, or how can I, get on that job or start that internship? What should I do? Ask for knowledge, information, resources. Whoever won't judge you, laugh at you, tell your business, cling on to those people so that you always have your tribe and your support system. Or if for some reason you have to go it alone for a while, that is okay too. You be your own support system. You can always Google and research for any resources that you need, and everything will be okay. And you always love yourself no matter what. Well, I thank you all for watching this video. Please hit the like button on this video, as it is a free way of supporting the channel. And please subscribe to Show Style and Spirit if you have not already done so. I hope you all are enjoying your weekend. I'm going to get out and enjoy this Sunday. It snowed some more overnight. Oh my gosh, but not that much. So it shouldn't be a big deal to drive out in it. But I will definitely talk with you all soon. We're going to have a magnificent Monday. It will not be a manic Monday. And you take good care. Bye.